G'day guys, welcome on in to this lovely corner of God's green earth. You know, it's really funny. I want to tell you something about settling. I've been coming to this park for jeepers. It's going on over a year now, and we usually position ourselves over that way, about 200 meters, and sometimes further that way, about 500 meters. But here by this little corner, and I'll just spin you around for a look-see. With the water, there's the phone that takes a time lapse. This is a corner I haven't come to yet. And you know why that's interesting? Because being the first time I've come here, the bars of reception, I've got 4 bars rather than 2. So there's a lesson to be learned there, because I could have had better reception for you guys for the past year, and I did not. So, lessons hard learned. But I do have some fresh spring water from the family farm. I've got my painting uniform on, messy pants, and a nice clean shirt. Brand new one from an op shop actually. Kind of like it. I've got a time lapse ready to go. And we've got this lovely, fresh and crisp white hardwood board, masonite, that's been gessoed, sanded, rubbing alcoholed, gessoed, re-gessoed, ready to paint. And today we're starting a very special project. I was waiting for a day like this, when the storm's passed, the sky's blue, there's moisture everywhere, but it's just this beautiful feeling. The birds can feel it too, they're talking non-stop. To start this portrait for Max's dad. Max is a husky, and we've got his photo up here, and we're going to be painting him on this board right here. I've got a black and white one here to spot the tones, and I've got a colour one up here to get a feel of the colours. And I'll be taking inspiration from the photo for the greens, but also the environment around us, because after a bit of rain, it gets extra lush, and I like that. And I like fresh spring water. Oh, such a touch. Such a delightful touch. Now, let me just make sure this time lapse is all in the right position, and then we'll be ready to kick into action. Here we go. Lovely. All right, who's ready to paint? Me. I am. And what's fun about today? Guys, I've literally, I don't want to jinx it, but I think I've remembered everything. I've got a cloth, I've got paint brushes, I've got my medium, I've got my water, canvas, picture, stand, Wi-Fi. There's honestly nothing else a new artist could possibly need. I think we've pretty much got everything in the repertoire. Let me put those ones down there. Now, because Max is going to need multiple layers to be completed, today will just be layer 1. But we'll make some good ground. It's going to be fun. All right. All about. Yeah. Cool little crew though, isn't it? All about. Sunscreen too. I did speak too soon. We forgot one thing. Oh dear. Welcome back, Miss Honey and Jay. Welcome on in. Good to have you guys here. Here's our surface. Let's get a bowl primed. Starting off with the bigger brush. And if anyone is from New Zealand or does know their birds, feel free to yell out what you hear. Here we go. Right. Colour I want to kick off with first. Payne's Grey. go. A little bit of Payne's Grey. Ooh. Should have maybe bought some Ian. Here's the tui. Yeah. There's a duck wandering around literally 5 meters behind the camera. The duck's looking at me like, guess you don't have any bread then, huh? This is why you don't get cocky. You say things like, ugh, we've got everything we need. And then all of a sudden, I need some clamps into my art supplies. I need some sunscreen lotion. And you start thinking, if you hadn't got cocky, that was a duck, you'd be able to get into what you needed. It's my fault. I'm sorry, Mother Nature. I didn't mean to gloat about how clever I was and how I remembered everything. Do you reckon we'll be able to get it open? It is kind of Hobbitland. Hobbitland's 2.5 hours south of here, but this is very similar. Come on. Oh. So that happens when you become a dad. You stop going to the gym. When you stop going to the gym, it gets pretty tough. There we go. Oh. Oh, tight the whole way to the top. Jeepers creepers. There we go. Lovely. And tight on the way down. Whee. Clamps. Clamps, 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 clamps. Can you be the bottle? I think you make a fantastic person. Another side? Well, I did have a solution there if we failed. I had a, I might have some supplies in the car that we can like kind of try and jar it off with. But anyway, we're okay. We're sorted and we're good to go, team. Right, canvas looking beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. I've been waiting on this one for over a week now, but the weather has made it pretty much impossible to get what we needed in the picture. But now that all changes. We have everything we need. Everything we need. Right, there we go. Yes, David. New Zealand has been fairly rough these last few days though, so we've got good weather now, but it doesn't really do a lot of justice for the weather we have been facing, because it's been all on. In 2 years, excited to explore. Yeah. Well, you won't be disappointed because most of New Zealand is literally like you're hearing and seeing around me right now. 2 years though. You plan things a long way in advance. I like your style. You know, Payne's Grey is a funny colour as well. You always think it's a soft, dare I say it, even less exciting colour. But then at the end of a result, you always notice whether you used it or not. It has this impact on the end product that is always a beautiful, beautiful thing. Now, one thing we're doing here as well is you'll notice that Max is wearing a collar. We're not putting the collar on him. So we're going to edit the collar out creatively just to show Max and not get hung up on the necklace he's wearing. There we go. This is Max's ears, just like that. This is doing the dark, shadowy areas in this picture. Down through here. You can hear as well a boat going past. It's kind of nice. Hey, you decided on a picture to use. I did. I've been looking at 4 of them, been looking at 4, considering, and this one is the best one. I feel like the key to it, what became the decider, was deciding, rather than going, because all the shots were brilliant, I thought, considering we've done 2 other dog portraits, what one suits capturing Max the best? So at a glance, which one best shows off Max's personality? And this one became the obvious natural choice, because there's a shot of Cassie, which was down, smiling up. Our second picture, our husky was facing us with its tongue out, looking goofy and happy. And this one here has that kind of sit beside you loyalty and companionship, but a gaze out as well. Not directly at you, but it kind of has its own unique elements as Max, so we'll capture that. Do you merge them together sometimes? We do sometimes. We had a project called the Hawk Dun range down in New Zealand, and rather than using a specific image from the Hawk Dun range, we used a collection of 4 or 5 images to inspire different colours of different seasons in the area, rather than just saying this is winter in the Hawk Duns or this is summer in the Hawk Duns. It was supposed to be, this is the Hawk Duns. So that's pretty exciting. And some other news, guys. Who remembers the Doubtful Sound trip? Who remembers going down to the middle of nowhere in the Doubtful Sounds in the South Island of New Zealand, capturing that landscape? Well, that landscape, unfortunately, I know a few people are waiting for it, will never be listed on the website. Prints will come out, but the landscape itself is on its way to the Netherlands. So I know in the reels I had it in that brown walnut frame, but the home it's going into has more pale pastel oak tones. So I'm going to swap the frame out to be more, that has soundbite potential. Which part, Rick? Because we can absolutely cut it into a soundbite. The Hawk Dun range is off to the Netherlands, and the prints are going to go up. I need to put a new frame on it, but it's going to go to a newly married couple, which I'm pretty excited about. I reckon that's a pretty fun connection there. I'm a bit gutted though, because I had a few works at the house which ended up shipping off to Canada, and I duplicate Shelby by saying, don't worry, we'll be getting some new art in. And I hyped her up on the Doubtful Sounds. I'm like, we're gonna have that work. It's gonna look great. You know, you'll get your boost of color. And now it's gone too. So basically, what am I saying? I'm in trouble. And I need to make some landscapes for Shelby. Such a brilliant artist. When did you think you had a flair for art? That's a funny question, because I think we feel like an artist is like, oh look, I can make art. I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be my passion. But I think it's not like that. I don't think we have that experience. For me, I always did art. I grew up with it. It was all I thought about. It's all I did. But I didn't realize I needed to do art until much later in life. But probably the giveaway was I'd walk into galleries or see art, and I'd say, you know, sometimes I'd say, well, I could make that. But when I was saying that, I wasn't saying I could copy the craft. Well, that's how it would sound. What I was actually saying was I can see the feeling or the intention behind that. I could do that as well. And I think that's the same as a kid playing soccer or football, rugby, whatever, and thinking that, seeing, you know, the heroes and thinking, I could probably kick a ball like that. I could see myself doing that. And I think being able to see yourself doing it, that visualization, is kind of important. I honestly don't think without that visualization that you can get that far in art. I don't mean like visualize yourself as a famous artist. No. I mean visualization is in visualize yourself being able to capture a feeling or a character or a moment. Can you see yourself doing that, or is that completely foreign? And even if it is foreign, if you start doing it, just start doing it, you'll remove that intrusive thought of imposter syndrome in your mind through sheer practice alone. That's the thing, the imposter syndrome element. Everyone thinks, oh, I'm not sure if I should be doing this. Do it a million times. Do it so much that the actual fears of doing it completely and utterly fade. Get so confident in your craft that literally there is nothing in your mind that would say you can't do this. Maybe you can't do this again, but if you do something a million times, you're kind of the guy. What are we painting? Sorry, we're painting a dog. We are, Charlie. Welcome on back. You were here yesterday. You're back today. We are painting a dog. Or was it there before yesterday? Jeepers. Hello to South Africa. Welcome on in. Join me as we go on the voyage of capturing Max. So we're painting Max for Max's dad. Max's dad's called Greg. And the goal is, in a series of 3 paintings, to capture Max's character quite uniquely. That's what we're here to do. So, early strokes, bit of definition behind them, bold colour. Then as we continue on, flair, love, companionship, vitality, energy inside the strokes. That's the plan. Keep it fast, furious, wild, and keep that transparency in all the layers, so that way nothing disappears. You can appreciate all the paint equally through the work. I wish I had a pet. I do not. My partner does. Shelby has a golden retriever, but no, I don't, which honestly breaks my heart. I feel like my daughter would be so much better off with a pet. We've got a window of about 8 months to a year though, and at some point through that period, we'll make sure we get her something, or at least go somewhere where I don't know if we can ever get the dog back off the parents. Shelby's parents look after Barnaby, the dog. So I don't know if we could ever wrestle Barnaby off them, but a dog for my daughter Cooper. There we go. There we go. Ooh. Hello. Is it me you're looking for? I can see it in your eyes. That's Richie, isn't it? That's not George Michael. I'm a George Michael fan though. Puppy, indeed. Love huskies. I struggle drawing animals, making them look realistic. Animals are really similar to people. And landscapes, actually. All art. A lot of the time we get hung up on things like animals and people, thinking, I need to make sure the ears look right, that the eyes look right, that the noses and the form. Ignore these things. Ignore these things. These hold you back. These are your own insecurities or what you think the picture should look like. And you're trying to just transplant that onto a character. If you want to actually organically and really capture a character, you need to ignore the nose, the eyes, the ears, the body, the paws, the whatever, arms, legs, and focus on just spotting in your image or in real life the colours, the shapes, and the strokes. Find a shape, notice what colour it is, what shape it has, and transplant it from your image onto the canvas. And if you do that with the best of intentions, hundreds of thousands of times, you'll actually start, well, the picture will start to emerge. It can't help to. One of the ways I do that though is I make sure the paint stays quite transparent, so you don't just see the last few hundred strokes. You actually see all the strokes in culmination aligning to the same purpose. That's the key. That's the key. Right. Next colour, number 2. A bit of green. Ooh, green, baby. Won't you go crazy? And this is why we have the cloth here. There we go. Also, team, if you're around in the next 8 hours or so, we're going to do another stream at night with a pretty interesting new format that I want to try. We're going to be painting on glass. We've done mirrors before, but we've never done glass. So that's going to be quite fun. You're multi-talented at the same. It's amazing to watch. Oh, thanks, user. Appreciate that, user 442413073691961. An artist's mind is so interesting. Cheers, Brandy. It's funny though, because the method to me seems methodical and precise, kind of like a sniper, but in practice the way it looks is wild and confused and chaotic. When you go to chaos, the artwork turns into porridge. But when you adhere to this methodical, creative method, only then, and it takes layers and layers and layers to come out, but only then can the actual work. I do notice with some works, I get off the wagon, literally off the wagon, and I resort to chaos rather than what I actually see, what I want to see, gestural elements that go into it. And when I do that, it loses that actual character, the subject matter, and just includes my own wild expressionism. And although that's nice, in this case here, we're not after Seb's own wild expressionism. It's not a self-portrait of me in wild paint. It's my style, but it's to capture Max. So we have to make sure everything we do on the surface here is transposed from, inspired by, and influenced from that picture of Max. That's the goal. Exciting. I hope I'm awake. You are awake. You are probably awake. Otherwise you're asleep scrolling. Imagine if that was a thing. Must be a thing. Got sleepwalking. People do all sorts of crazy things when they go sleepwalking. Imagine that, sleep scrolling. You log back into your account in the morning and there's just thousands of things that have been liked. Try that next time. I like that. Have you ever done sunrises? We have. And actually it's a shame that we haven't done more of them, because last time we did a sunrise, no joke, it was windy. You might remember, it was heavily windy, but I couldn't make a reel out of it. I was doing that Skyrim landscape and it was blowing all over the place. And so I put up a reel of the pain of all the blowing and put an Austin Powers soundtrack behind it. It got 1 million views, guys. So maybe I should just get over the battles and go back out there into the wild morning outdoors with a bit of wind. Find a still morning even. And go back and do some more battling. Doo-doo-doo-doo. There we go. And down in here, there's a bunch. Oh yeah. Take that off through there. Beautiful. Max, my boy, you are looking gorgeous. There we go. And if you know what I really want to watch? You know what I really want to watch right now? Flight of the Conchords. Great show. Absolute banger. I'm going to go home tonight, provided Shelby lets me. And I'm going to watch Flight of the Conchords and enjoy every second of it. And provided Cooper's into it. If my daughter Cooper's not into it, it's going to be a bit of a problem. It will not be as easy. We may end up watching Coco Melon, but I would prefer Flight of the Conchords. So that's where my feelings lie. Da-da-da-dum. Da-da-dum. Or Austin Powers. I'd settle for that. That's a likely fit with Cooper because Austin Powers has those bright, funky colours from the 70s, which has made every decade since quite jealous. That would be a bit of fun. Gonna move this just quickly to the centre. We're gonna get that little bit of florage just up here in this corner. What a tune. That must be a New Zealand show. Yes, it is. It's international, but it's New Zealanders. Basically, they're a band and they try and go to America, New York, I think, to launch their band. And it goes terribly, as you'd imagine. But it's the funniest thing. Just Kiwi humour, trying to make it in the big city, failing dismally. But great show. Great show. Not failing because the show failed. It's a very successful show, but failing in the way that, hello ducks, how you doing? I got no bread. Next time. Failing in the way that the humour, the jokes, the storyline is that they fail. It's not that they actually failed. Does that make sense? If you're an artist, your children will take an interest, want to be like you. Kinda. We're going to probably do our very best to make sure she gets to pursue what she's most interested in. And if that's ice hockey, ballet dancing, or whatever else, I will do my best to adapt. I will do my best. You have a baby. No time to watch anything, says Michael. You must be 24/7 on baby duty. In the evenings, as she starts to nod off, you can have it there on a low volume and enjoy your little tacker. Let me just go like this. Excuse me for a moment. There we go. Ooh, glad we checked actually, because the sun has continued to move. So let's get this and rock it around a little bit so the light hits it. Voila. And then we're going to move you around, guys. Don't get motion sickness. Hold on to your boots. There we go. Move you guys around to there. A lovely. That's just beautiful. And then I'm going to get the other one here. Spin it around. Yeah, there we go. Lovely. Why are you so difficult to move? There we go. Get this one in just the right place and we're away. Oh, alrighty then. Great quote. Alrighty then. I wonder, you'd be able to figure out pretty easily, but how much of that movie, Ace Ventura, is scripted and how much he just comes out with on his own. I hope it's a good blend of 50-50. All right, lovely, lovely, lovely. Next color. The key is not to overuse a color, guys. Not to overpower the work. Just keep jumping from pigment to pigment. If I was had several 100 million followers instead of several 100,000, I'd be like, ha, it is done. Kidding, no, I would never do that. You need at least 4 colors. Surely 4. There we go, nice clean brush. There we go, let me swipe that back to here. Your dog, not my dog. This is Greg's dog, but I'd prefer to say that Greg's Max's dad. So Greg's family is himself, and his core family is himself and 3 amazing dogs, Cassie, Kiera, and Max. And so Max is the final member of the family for us to paint. Unless we paint Greg, of course, which I'd love to do. But we're focusing today on just Max. So this is a portrait of Max. And the key to a portrait is Max is center stage, and all that matters is capturing Max's personality and character. That's what we're after. And now, with dogs in this case, we're after a couple of things. First off, this is a member of a family, like most pets, but that family element's going to be important. That connection, that love, that companionship. So if we were painting a bull, for example, family wouldn't be so important. But we're not doing a bull. We're doing a loyal, loving husky. Here we go. We're on to our turquoise. One of the most expensive colours I own. Literally costs 6 times more than other colours, but you're like, maybe I don't need turquoise. But then every time you say that, you do. Turquoise is essential. It's like the teal version of baby blue, and without it, paintings are definitely less. Even if it's just a small amount, even if you stop there, you just need turquoise, need it. And we're not Bob Ross. Bob Ross completes a painting faster than I do. Bob Ross uses oils. Bob Ross is always doing landscapes, but we're all over the show. Sometimes we're doing landscapes, sometimes we're doing dog portraits, sometimes we're doing faces, sometimes we're just making a mess, and sometimes we're just yakking. Which I feel like we need to do more of those streams where we just actually start a conversation, have a topic, and roll with it. Because people really, really enjoyed the last time we did that. And I just have a lot of paintings to do at the moment, so I haven't managed to actually go, right, let's sit down and just do another talking one. But it is inbound. We are going to do more of that. Mark my words. Just out here making promises. Where the paper is taped. First off, great use of the English language. Love your style. The paper's taped from behind, so it's got artist tape, which if you get a special tape, it won't pull up paint or ruin the gesso layer. If you use strong, that silver tape's kind of like a duct tape material, you will affect the actual painting. You can do it, but you're better off with a nice stick, but not glue kind of tape. Stick, but not too much stick. Quote me on that. There we go. There we go. Get that around there. Get that just coming up there, just there. That's going to dip there. Bit too much paint, but that's okay. We can shake it off. And then coming around this eyeball here. we can't get too excited about detail yet because we're on a big brush. So as we go, we'll go smaller and smaller with the brush, but right now, baby cakes, we need the big one. Big one. I like them big. I love that scene from, who's seen Madagascar? I think it's Madagascar 2. When the hippos are hanging out by the pond and Moto comes out of the pool. Because the name's Moto, so good you need to say it twice. Which would technically make it Moto, but that means his name is just Moto and he says it twice. Personally, I want to see Moto's birth certificate just to confirm what's going on there. And the ground is kind of wet after all the weather we've been having, so excuse me if my knees get a bit damp. Typo error. You're all good. Sorry for being a condescending bully. I wasn't being condescending. I was just, I'm having a joke. I'm having a joke with you. Hey Janice, welcome on in. And Janice, do you like the wild beside your name? I had a couple of subscriptions to give away, and so I went for the top 20 people, comment sections, and the top 20 people with who are like in and out of the streams, and you were one of the random people selected. I say random. I got 20 people, and then I selected one randomly. So I thought, rather than me, because someone could be silently there, and I might miss them, which is not really fair if you're not the kind of person who likes to comment but hang out in the stream. I thought, how do we respect everyone's position here? And anyway, it was Janice. There was another person, I think KT, CC or someone. And then I think it was Kyle. I need to go back and check. But it lasts for, oh, cheers, Brian, you forgive me, you champion. And you're welcome, Janice. Thanks for being here. I'm thankful for that. There is literally, as far as our human consciousnesses are kind of concerned, or as much as our frontal lobe can handle, there's literally infinite options on the internet right now. And you've chosen more than once to be here with me. Now, I really appreciate that because I see that as being pretty special. Seb, enjoy your art and stories behind each piece. Love it, so awesome. You absolute legend. Thank you so much. I think that you're 100% right. I think art is stories. Without the story behind the art, it's just, it's kind of like a sport. Sports, it's not the point of winning. It's not the idea of a sport to win it. But you need to have ways to score points and a winner and a time frame for it to be completed in, because that allows for the excitement to occur within that time. In the same way with a painting, if there's not a purpose or a story aligning what's been made with something bigger than itself, you'd have to ask why. And in the same way, if we saw a bunch of fully grown men and women running around a field, kicking a ball around, with no actual arbitrary reason behind it, we would relevantly so ask why. So I feel like before you even start painting, as an artist or whatever you're doing, if you can align sport and art, you can align just about anything. So before you start, reason, why, and story. If you can get that, the whole project gets meaning, and you won't stand there insecurely in front of your artwork or your project and say to yourself, I don't know why I'm doing this. Why am I here? I can't continue. You'll know I'm here because of X, Y, and Z. And if I achieve that, we'll get this. In this case, we're after Max. We're capturing Max for Max's dad, Greg. And if we can capture Max in all his husky glory, we'll be on the right track. It'll be very, very satisfying. Especially since he's the third dog we're after. And I feel like I feel like that turquoise, now that we've added it, essential, absolutely essential. You can't do a husky without turquoise in my mind. Not that a husky is ever turquoise, but it's that colour that gets those lighter greys that without it, you have no hope. That'd be my way of saying it. I don't think you need Naples. I'm willing to accept that maybe we don't need Naples, but I am not coming to the party to say that you could ever capture a husky without turquoise. I mean, you could, but I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to. Disney World, welcome on in, you absolute champion. The dog just jumped out at me. You're drinking some exciting tea. I like your style. I've learnt so much off you. I've learnt so much off you already. Thanks for inspiring me to get back into painting. You are more than welcome. Guys, this channel and what we do here doesn't have to inspire you back into painting either. Only 1% of the population, with all the wild things that you can do in this world, should want to actually do painting, say. And it's okay if you're in that 1%. It doesn't mean you're more special, it just means you're in that slitter. And then the other 1% will want to be writers and poets, and the other 1% might want to be surfers and beach bums. This is okay. But what I want to do here is I want to use my craft unapologetically, raw and exposed, to encourage you to do whatever your thing is. And if that's surfing, if that's writing, if that's collecting Furby dolls, then I swear I'm 100% for it. Go do your thing, you absolute champion. Collect every single Furby doll and get them on a lovely shelf in your room and show them off to all your friends. And I'm excited for you for doing that. But what I can share with you, I can't. Shelby says, oh, Seb can surf. I can't surf, guys. It's hard. I get barreled every time. Waves hit me over. I run out of energy super fast. When we were first dating, did a lot of paddling. Got real tired. Couldn't talk about it because we were dating. You know, I had to act tough. Oh yeah, nah, that set was mean. But I paint. Painting's what I do. And so if I can share that with you and get a little bit of give you a little bit of a catalyst for what you like to do, then man, I'll be stoked by that. So, and if you hate the painting, good. That emotion you've got there will help you better understand what you do like. And hopefully, through that hatred, you find more things you love. That would be an excellent step. Coming on down. No, Furby dolls. Furby. Those things I did the movie about, that they're not allowed to get wet back in the day. They were these toys, like, kind of like little, how do I explain them? Someone explain Furby dolls. I forget. And how long have I, interesting question. Yes, I had a few of them growing up. All right. I had those little trolls, the ones with the hair, I think. We had a couple from an op shop. And I had tractors. My brother was the best at it. He'd drive those little tractors in the dirt pit, like scoop the sand and move it around. Our childhood was lit. And within my elder brother Alex had a Game Boy. And on that Game Boy, we had Pokemon Yellow. He won it in a radio competition. Say that 10 times fast. Won it in a radio competition, and I used to lean over his shoulder while he'd run around. That little Pikachu would follow him around the screen. And I just had no idea what was going on, but man, I was excited. I look back on it now, and every time I see those pixelated Pokemon, those Pidgeys and Rattatas, and the pixelated little pictures of them, it sparks up these neurons in my memory. I get all excited remembering the excitement I used to feel looking over my brother's shoulder. So, And in fact, one of the earliest originals that we ever did was on a Reddit live stream, was of a close-up of that little Pokemon character, like an abstract, and it was pretty fun. It's pretty fun, pretty different. Maybe one day we'll do another one. Today's not that day, but maybe. Seems to me that maybe it pretty much always means no. My maybe means like actual maybe. It's not like a Jack Johnson pretty much means no kind of maybe. It's a maybe. How many brothers? Dos. Dos, and how do you say it? Hermanos? Dos. How do you say brothers? Nuevo. No, it's girlfriend. Is it? What's brothers in Spanish? Dos. Dos familia? It's 2 family. It's 5 in my family, parents and 3 boys. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cinco familia? Cinco familia. I need Duolingo back on my phone, guys. And Lady Layla. No. I am not, but one day. One day. It is the plan. Have you ever painted the character Pikachu? No, I haven't. I haven't painted Pikachu. Never, ever have I done it. And that's a shame. But one day. Right. That's enough on our Pokemon trivia. What's our next layer gonna be? Naples yellow, ultramarine blue. Naples for all the light colours beside those turquoises, and ultramarine blue to sit between those greens and the Payne's grey. Is it a must? Nope, it's just the pattern we're following this time, and it will work. It's not my dog. I wish it was my dog, but no, this dog is loved and cared for by Greg over in the States. So, Greg's a long way away, but these days, with those protective cases we build for shipping, and between the protective cases that the artwork ships in, the way I make the artwork, the speed of the Wi-Fi to connect instantaneously around the world via video chats, the world's actually all pretty close. And so, although Greg is quite literally on the other side of the planet, within the next few weeks, I'm going to make this. Greg will have all the replays, and this picture will be in Greg's house. And if we do a good enough job, Max will be able to look at it, and it'll make Max happy. That's the plan. That is this beautiful plan, guys. Now, let me just go like this, and like that. Like this, and like that. Ooh, pretty lady. Now, this is ultramarine blue. I haven't made it myself, and although it looks powerful, I do love this paint. I want to make it myself. I do. But when I make it myself, it's matte, so strong, it's not transparent, and we need that transparency built into it. So, although I love it, Seb Gower makes his own paint. In this case, no, he does not. I want that transparent medium through it. I want it to pop. I don't want it to cover the Payne's grey. I want it to feel, to connect with it, and for you to see those deep, darker blues underneath the Payne's grey, and have those ultramarine blues popping on top. If they're underneath, the whole thing pops a lot, like a Bauhaus work or a pop art work. We did that with Marilyn Monroe. Tons of ultramarine blue, matte, popping. But in this case, we want to actually not scream out with a level of ridiculousness that we had with Marilyn Monroe, but just gently embellish the dog, add life to it. That's what we're after. That is what we are after. And like I say, every layer has those transparency gels built into it, so we can see all the paint. These pockets, like right here, you can see through 1, 2, 3, 4 colours, right down to the gesso at the moment. But from that, There's no wasted layers. You can appreciate all of it. So that's why we need to make sure every single stroke is applied with the best of intentions, because it's going to show up in the end piece. I really love this piece. Thanks, Janice. I like now that your comments pop up with that little gold symbol. It's like a little notification for me to be like, shh, someone important speaking. Check it. There we go. Everyone's important, guys. But I try and make sure that if someone's buying me a coffee, that I'm getting in there and actually catching their comments. That's pretty important. In this case, you were gifted us a subscription, but you know what I mean. I have one more question. I love one more question. Two very different statements. Lol, is there a specific paint you prefer to others? Janice, I was yarning about this yesterday, and I want to say it depends what you're doing. If I'm working in really bright conditions, or if I'm for capturing a portrait from a photo, acrylics are always the best. These ducks just don't understand that I'm trying to explain something to Janice. It's like all they care about is bread. If you start with the intention, what are you doing it for, you'll be able to better understand which medium you want. But it always falls into a bucket, for me, of oil paint, acrylic paint, egg tempera, or gouache. It's always or tempera, just raw tempera paint, which is like poster paint. So if we're doing a single layer and we want popping colours and a flat coat, oil's probably the best, because oil will dry exactly as it looked at the start, so you can better understand the end result during the process. That's why artists like it so much. It's very, very much artist focused. That's why they moved away from egg tempera, because it would stay open for longer as well. It's the artist focused medium. That's why artists say it's the only medium, because it feels the best for the artist. Acrylics, you can layer aggressively. So for capturing the personality of this dog, I'm obviously going to prefer acrylics, because for that I can do multiple layers, noticing different colours and shapes and form within Max to actually capture Max's personality. Not just a wild oil that I say, this is what it will look like. No. Max has a deeper personality than a single layer. I need multiple layers building up to construct who he is as a companion. And then if you're after pure, non-toxic, no chemicals, wonderful, potent colour, you're definitely floating the boat on the egg tempera front. Absolutely. If you like the idea of knowing where every little thing came from, like, do you know how when you go to buy something in the store and you look at the back and it just says 10,000 ingredients? We don't mind if it's really yummy, or we're after a certain type of sauce or ingredient, it's fine. But when you want to look at the back of the ingredient packet and go, okay, distilled New Zealand spring water, fresh barn eggs from Seb's parents' farm, pigment 574, which would be like, synthetic ultramarine blue. I know exactly what's in this work that makes it exist. The surface, 100% cotton paper, whatever it might be. I know what's in this painting. I understand its ingredients. I can form a connection with it. It's natural. I'm a human. I'm a Homo sapien. I'm natural as well. Connection formed. Egg tempera, every time. You'll never get better colour. The colours are just different. It's just different. But egg tempera as well falls into the same trap of oil, that if you're trying to capture something specific, in this case Max, we're best on acrylics. Portraits, personalities, characters, simply because of that intensive layering you can do. As you realise certain elements about Max, as you see things you hadn't seen at the start, as you develop your relationship with Max, because the more I look at Max's face, now I spend a long time before I start these commissions looking at the picture. If there's more pictures, perfect, and I formulate this spectrum of an understanding of who I'm trying to capture. What kind of dog is it? And me and Greg have had video calls and lots of conversations about his dogs, so I can formulate a complete picture, and from that I can then take all that knowledge, that inspiration, that idea, and through the course of multiple layers develop Max's personality. But without that, I'm just firing shots in the dark. You need that connection. You need it. Yeah. I hope that helps. But Janice, apart from that, if you ask yourself what you actually start by wanting to capture, if you say, I want to capture, I want something more wild and abstract. One of the things sometimes, I did this with a face the other day, you might have seen it, it was a face and I started with that giant spray up the front of it. Sometimes you just want to use a lot of paint and make a mess. Now I won't do that with acrylics because this is nature, we're outside, and these are actually a form of plastics. They're acrylic polymers. Now they last indefinitely, and that's great for art that goes on your wall and gets passed on through generations. But it's not so great to leave on where our ducks like to hang out. So what we do instead, if we are going to go wild in the outdoors, is we'll use tempera paint, which is effectively poster paint. So we typically give it to kids, and it doesn't last forever. So you can take a photo of the work and there'll be prints of it, but the actual original is fleeting. But you can use a whole lot of paint, splatter it, get it up your arms, get it on your face, get it all over the canvas, and if it drips on the ground, it's okay, it just washes away with water, and it's not dangerous. So I'm not saying that's the new thing to make originals with, but sometimes you just need to let loose. Sometimes you need to go a little bit crazy. Sometimes you need to really remember what you can do if you just really set yourself raw and free. And poster paint's cheap, you can get big buckets of it for no cost, and you can just tear into massive works and have a good time. That being said, you can also do massive works with egg tempera, because although it would use a lot of eggs, instead you can swap out the eggs for soy milk. No added ingredients, just soy milk. The proteins and the fats in the soy milk, provided it's clean, will work in the same way for the emulsifying effect to create a pigment on the surface as egg tempera. It's just not proven to last indefinitely. It's more of a, we think it might work, but no one's giving any guarantees. So if you're doing archival work, egg tempera. But if you want to just avoid poster paint and use pigment powders to make your art, egg tempera slaps. Oh, sorry, soy milk tempera slaps. And for an example of that, you can jump on my feed again, and those two big eyeballs, we just did phthalo blue and ultramarine blue. And that was soy milk. I got so many messages from people being like, "Hey, what's that? What is that? What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Just having fun, guys. It's not archival. Can't be sold. You could sell it, but the collectors don't do that to collectors. They're taking on a risk if you give them a possibly not archival product. And you can't say, pay me $10,000 for this product, when literally, if they have it, there's a high chance it just won't last. So if you are dealing with a collector, or if you are a collector buying work, archival, make it last. Otherwise you're not helping them. You're not giving them a position to actually, especially when you're an emerging artist, to not give them a product that will stand the test of time, is to say, hey, thanks for your early attention on my creative pursuit, but that work won't last when I'm famous. Kind of rude. It feels rude. Yeah, the gold symbol. I like it, Miss Honey. I was judging what to put in there, but I really like that it says wild. And the kiwi fruit, I think the kiwi fruit's right. I had the fire originally, but I think the kiwi fruit, because this is New Zealand and kiwi fruit would have originally, possibly, grown in the wild. Is that fair? Kiwi fruit grow in the wild? I forget these things. The Chinese gooseberry. They probably did some, they probably went through the same process as the banana, actually. Got a bit modified in between. I have to try oil. I've been working with acrylic a lot. If you do try oils, Janice, I swear, Janice, please don't you dare do it inside. cracking a window in the corner of the room and saying it's ventilated is not okay. Not, and like artists who are much more famous than me will say, it's fine. Please, 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 just, even if there's like a 5% chance I'm right, just don't do it inside. These tubes say things like, you know, caustic, blah, 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 do not dispose of in regular trash. You know, something that says do not dispose of in the regular trash can't just have pigment powder and oil in it, guys. It's got to have all sorts of nasty stuff in it. And if you look at this product safety sheet a lot of the time, it will actually go into detail, yarning about saying, you know, this is, it will go into detail saying things like, this is cancer causing, it's got this ingredient and this ingredient in it, and you're like, so, I'm not that into that. That's part of the reason whenever I'm working inside, we use that egg tempera. So we mix the pigment with the egg, we make it ourselves, and it's all clear, no fumes. But even acrylic, I would never do acrylic inside, guys. Don't, please, 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 please. Janice, you're an amazing individual. You've got the mind of an artist. Why would you ever put yourself in the risk of melting that mind? That's just, oh, it just breaks my heart, guys. It's like a poet writing lines, and every time he writes a line, another word gets deleted from his repertoire. Like, yeah, you can make gorgeous art and you're inside and you're in your little studio and you're isolated and you're able to think clearly and you're just constructing a beautiful piece, and your frontal lobe is just reducing and reducing and reducing. And it breaks my heart. So please, please don't do that to yourself. I don't want anyone here to ever think. You know, a lot of the time we say things like, no, we're going to do it anyway. We're going to make amazing art and hurt ourselves in the process because one day we'll be famous and then we'll be able to change. Why get to where you want to go and not be the same person? That's what these solvents will do to you. And like, yeah, you can wear a gas mask, and some people do while they paint, but are you going to be methodical with it and wear it every single time? Because if you're not, I would run to the hills. Run to the hills. And that's why a lot of amazing art these days has come into existence, I believe, because people are now using tablets, you know, sketch pens and tablets to make their art. And so they're actually making beautiful pictures, but staying sane the entire time. A lot of artists are making art, but breathing in the fumes and just going a little bit more crazy every stroke, a little bit more lightheaded, and then by the end of the painting, it's a wild, crazy piece, and everyone's like, oh, it's amazing. And the artist falls into this evil trap of having to then go back into that environment and blow their head off with fumes every day because people like it. And that self-preservation aspect doesn't come into the artist's repertoire while they're on a creative pursuit. You'll just hurt yourself. Because for creativity, an artist, a true creative will give anything. And usually that sometimes means self-sacrifice. But although that's a noble pursuit, you just tell that person that actually there's another way. You don't have to give up yourself. You can give your effort. You can try, you can give it everything you've got, but you don't need to damage yourself. You can come up with new methods. You can use the egg tempera, you can go outside. Monet was a plein air painter. I see a lot of people online now, plein air painters everywhere. I love it, Go outside and paint outside. If you want to go the full Monty, figure out the wind as well and actually go on an angle where it's blowing away from you. Oh, please, 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 please. Oh wow, that is excellent. Thank you so much. Boom. Make sure you get terps when working with this is what I'm talking about. That's the fumes we're talking about, guys. That's the danger. I've honestly never used terps when I work with oils. I combine the oils with liquid, which is also pretty rough to make it run further. And I combine it with bada bing bang boom. More linseed oil, stand oil. So the linseed oil and the terps really, really, really help. There we go. Linseed oil and liquid. Never use tips though.
No, it doesn't have to be, but this is empty. So
There we go. You're welcome, Janice. I'll stick to acrylic, lol. I'm very impatient with oils. It's the dry times that get you. They do have new oils out now. They do have new oils, the water-based oils, which are easier to clean up. But these oils, they can be still quite tough and taking a long time to dry. These can become factors. So, quick dry times, easy cleanup. You're on the acrylic bandwagon. There we go. So we've already added that ultramarine blue, but the next stage, like I was saying, is to get that Naples yellow in there. And the more colours we add, although the definition of the dog's already there, we want to see more and more of the personality of Max coming through. Just with these wild colours, one after the next. I think for the sake of the husky, we won't go too far into the reds. We'll play with them, but we won't go too deep. They'll come in these walnut tones of the wood, but not into Max himself. Maybe a little bit under the chin here, obviously on the tongue, but so we're not going to get too... Max is much more of a steely blue kind of coat with that turquoise. There we go. And early in the piece too, we want those bigger, bolder strokes because we'll come on back later in the piece with the colours to smaller details. We're still on the big brush, guys. It's still 1 inch wide, so. But we were talking yesterday about that book, guys. If you ever do wonder a good way to look after yourself before you start new mediums, or better understand your current medium, the Painter's Handbook is an absolute banger. I mean that, because you can use that handbook to actually learn more about the oils, the substrates, the materials, gessos, sizing, why you're doing certain decisions, and it'll actually help you stay safe, because a lot of what he talks about in that book is about safety. What to avoid, what needs to happen, what doesn't need to happen. More importantly, why things happen. I think a lot of the time we gesso the surface, or size it, or buy certain surfaces, or get told certain things, and you have just sort of no idea why we're doing it. Now that's okay, but for your own satisfaction, it's kind of nice to know, as a collector or as an artist, why you're making certain decisions, why things are done in a certain way. I don't think it changes it all that much, but that understanding's got to be a good thing, right? There we go. Splash a little bit through there. Here we are. Big chunks of Naples yellow. So the other thing we have to think about too, wild card, is that Cassie, Kieran, and in this case, Max, Kira, want to have continuity in some of the colours, and so we put all the pigments in each of the portraits, because if all the pigments make it into each portrait, they'll actually, in sequence, have this subtle individuality to each other, but continuity in a set. So we don't want to just put a whole new set of colours on each one, unless that random element was the continuity. We want unique colours to stand out more in each portrait, but we don't want to completely just randomise them. Continuity, that's that family element. So although different members of the family, between Max, between Cassie, and between Kiera may deviate, they have this family bond, and we can capture that by having continuity with the colours, exacerbating different ones, but that continuity between the colours. There we go. beautiful. And we're going to come down here. Beautiful. On the side here, just down through there. A bit more on the side of this dog's face. That's the nose there to there. But that actually, the nose is a little bit longer than I've currently added, so we're just going to bring that down a bit more. Just down a little bit more. There we go. See, it's just moved slightly that way. That'll help out a lot. Now I'm nervous to paint inside again. Good. I mean, bad, but be nervous and go find a place outside with a bit of shade. You don't have to do full, I like full light because the way to fix the artwork, but with a bit of shade, go outside and just make your art. Music through the headphones is nice when you're outside too. It's just, it'll vitalize you. Fresh air has an impact. Beautiful, beautiful impact on what you're doing. Going to have supper, have a great day. So thanks, Janice. Go look after yourself, get some food in your belly, and appreciate you coming here to hang out with me. We've made some good ground on Max's portrait. I think the next colour, I'm kind of thinking we attack it with a bit of white. But I'm dabbling on the idea. Let me have a look through the paint set and see if something stands out to me. But I think, yes, go that way. We're going to go with the rojo. A little bit of rojo. It's red, team. Got, there we go, that one's two. Okay, new plate there. Voila. Rojo is red. I know I was bagging on it before, but the key here is to put it in the underlying layers, so that way when we get towards the end, it'll really pop out of there. That'll be a good, fun win. Alright, there we go. Wipe down this brush. Just a little bit. There we go. And a little bit. A little bit more. There we go. This stuff is an absolute lifesaver. Man, I'm glad I was able to get this open, guys. It got hairy there for a moment. I thought for a second we weren't going to be able to do it. I was like, oh god, this is embarrassing. The whole world's watching, and I cannot seem to get into my painting medium. If we didn't have that, we probably would have had to pack up and do a talking stream. I would have done a bit of painting, but our ability to layer would have been absolutely shot to bits. So, there we go. And there's a little bit of red tucked in under the mouth there, just a bit. Then we're going to deviate just a bit through here. Lovely. And then through this part here. It's going to complement really nicely into that brown that we put into the work. Really nicely into the brown. So, otherwise the brown's kind of like an outcast. We don't want that. We want the brown to feel welcome. Paint has feelings. That'd be a controversial hot take. Imagine posting that on Twitter. Paint has feelings. Just like yelling that out from the rooftops. See who wants to listen. There we go. That's the first time we've acknowledged the tongue. And now there's a bit of red inside these ears. Touch points here. Touch points here. Beautiful. And now coming on down here. Yeah, there we go. Absolutely gorgeous. Sneak around through here and then just up over here. Lovely. More up in these tree areas. And when we come back tomorrow as well, we're going to come on in with a much smaller brush and capture those smaller elements of detail. And it's absolutely perfect that during this process we haven't actually gone into those lighter areas, which means we've had fun, but we haven't got excited and started doing areas where we shouldn't be touching just yet. There we go. Maybe just a little bit on this crown here. Go on then. Lovely. Down in here, a little bit. Not gonna get excited, just a little bit. And down in here, there we go. Oh sweet baby, don't you think of me, baby. There we go. This is heading down towards, what do you call that, the breast? On a dog, the solar plexus on a human. Not sure what you call it on a dog. Probably has the same name, to be honest. I'll stick to acrylic. I'm very impatient when it comes to oils. Oh, I think I read that before. I did. This guy. Hey, Paul. Welcome on in. There we go. Paul's like, this guy again. Showing up on my feed. How dare he? The audacity of these Kiwis to invite themselves onto our phones, paint, share a moment. In fact, I kind of like it. Yeah, it's actually gonna. It's gonna come up there. There's a bit of reconstruction to do around that area. That's okay though. There. There we go. And that's going to deviate through there, just like that. Move that to the side a little bit so I can get that little bit of colour up in here. There we go. Beautiful. Get that a little bit down from there. Alright team, that has been fun. Oh. Happy days. We'll pause there for now. When we come on back, we're going down to brushes this size. See that? 1/2 an inch. So that'll allow us to actually get in here. And the next stage is our whiter colours. Of course, we'll keep embellishing the background with a whole spectrum of tones, but these areas that have been left completely blank so far, the whole spectrum of white combined in with a bit of turquoise, maybe a little bit of pink, just to add that vibrancy and life to the coat, and lots of little strokes like this. Expect less of this and more of this. Dabs, small pieces, building up that fur, that texture of the husky, because huskies are so well known for their fur. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining in this amazing little spot. It's been a pleasure being here, and sorry I didn't put the timer on this live. I have one scheduled for tomorrow, but this one was just off the cuff. So, painting's looking amazing. Oh, thank you. Appreciate you being here. I'll bring up the picture real close so you can see. This is our little friend. I'll bring it right up here. Voila. There's our boy Max, and there's what we've got to so far. So you won't see the finer details around the mouth or the eye or the ears, but what you will start seeing is just the underlying depth in the character. And you'll see that actually the face and the neck, see how it's slightly smaller in this picture? That's allowing us to spread out further with those flicks of the fur once we get onto it. Anyway, guys, look after yourselves, you pack of champions. I'll catch you next time. Bye, team.